The first rays of daylight spilled over the quiet suburban street where Clare Dawson lived, painting soft gold across the manicured lawns and clipped hedges. Clare, 35 years old, wore her auburn hair loose around her face, her eyes carrying both warmth and the traces of hard-earned wisdom. Life had tested her before, but she had built a home where balance, sometimes messy, sometimes calm, was her constant. Nearly a decade earlier, she had married Michael Dawson, stepping not only into the role of wife but also into the unexpected responsibility of raising his young son, Ethan. Michael's long days as a contractor meant Clare became the one who managed the rhythms of their household. Over time, she and Ethan grew close. Their bond was imperfect but real, woven with laughter, occasional arguments, and most importantly, trust. Now 19, Ethan was no longer the timid boy who once leaned on her for help with homework. He had become a tall, broad-shouldered young man with quick humor and a smile that could brighten the dullest day. Clare often caught herself marveling at how swiftly the years had carried them here. It was on a warm Saturday that everything shifted. Clare was upstairs folding laundry when she noticed how unusually silent the house was. Wondering where Ethan had gone, she wandered down the hall. From behind his door came faint sounds. At first, she assumed it was the noise of a video game or something online, but a tug of curiosity pushed her to peek inside. She opened the door just slightly and froze. Her heart lurched. Ethan was caught in a moment that was intensely personal, private, the sort of thing no one was meant to witness. Heat rushed to Clare's face, and instinct told her to turn away, to slip out unnoticed and erase the sight from her memory. Yet something, maybe the vulnerability of what she'd stumbled upon, the fragile humanness of it, held her there for a beat too long. Ethan looked up. Their eyes locked. Shock flashed across his face, and Clare's stomach twisted in mortification. She stammered an apology, backing out clumsily. She expected him to lash out or retreat in anger, but instead, he only watched her, eyes wide, as though searching her expression for something unspoken. For a breathless second, the world outside that room ceased to exist. Downstairs, Clare tried to steady herself, heart hammering. She told herself it was nothing but an accident, something she'd laugh about later. Maybe if the moment ever arose, she'd even tease him gently. But beneath her rationalizations, something deeper stirred. The image lingered, not just what she saw, but how it unsettled her in ways she could not name. That evening, Ethan appeared in the kitchen. He was quieter than usual, avoiding the easy chatter he normally brought. Finally, his voice broke the silence. "About earlier," his words wavered. Clare forced a smile, waving her hand as though brushing it aside. "Don't worry, sweetheart. It was nothing. I shouldn't have walked in. Let's just forget it happened." But forgetting didn't come easily. Over the next days, Clare noticed things about Ethan she had somehow overlooked before. The way he carried himself with a new self-assurance, the way his presence filled a room. He wasn't the boy she'd once tucked into bed. He was a man now, and acknowledging that left her tangled in emotions she didn't want to unravel. Pride, nostalgia, and something else she dared not label. One afternoon, as she knelt in the garden pulling weeds, Ethan came outside and sat near her. The silence between them was heavy, carrying the weight of that unspoken memory. After a pause, his voice dropped to a whisper. "I thought you'd be angry with me." Clare slipped off her gloves and turned to face him. "Angry? No, Ethan. Everyone has private moments. You didn't do anything wrong. I just wasn't supposed to see it." Her honesty softened the tension. Instead of pulling them apart, the awkwardness made space for a deeper connection. Ethan began confiding in her more often. His uncertainty about choosing a college path, his anxieties about relationships, his fear of not measuring up. And Clare, in turn, found herself sharing more of her own history, the regrets, the missteps, the lessons life had carved into her. What had begun as embarrassment slowly became a turning point, a reminder of how vulnerability can deepen trust. Their conversations grew longer, their silences more comfortable, their laughter more frequent. One evening, with Michael away for work, Claire and Ethan ate dinner together. Pasta with iced tea. The atmosphere was light until Ethan's sudden question broke it. "Do you ever regret marrying Dad?" Claire's fork stilled against her plate. She studied him, searching for words. "No, I don't regret it. Your father is a good man. But marriage is complicated. Life is complicated." Ethan's gaze lingered on her, his intensity making her shift slightly. I see how much you do for everyone. And sometimes I wonder if anyone notices how much you give up." His words struck her deeper than she expected. She had never thought Ethan saw her sacrifices so clearly. In that instant, she realized he didn't just see her as his stepmother. He saw her as a woman, with her own struggles, her own dreams. From then on, their relationship carried a new weight. It was no longer about the accident in his room. It became about recognition, understanding, and the comfort of leaning on each other. Summer slid into autumn, and their closeness only grew. They cooked together, fixed small things around the house, and watched old movies on the couch. When Michael was away, the house didn't feel empty anymore. It felt alive. But with that closeness came something Claire feared acknowledging, an invisible pull, dangerous in its strength. She reminded herself of boundaries, of lines that must never blur. Yet the longer they shared those quiet moments, the harder it became to ignore. One stormy night, thunder rolling outside, Ethan sat beside her in the living room as the lights flickered. For a moment, shadows wrapped around them both. Ethan's expression was raw, stripped of any guard. "Claire," he whispered, "that day you walked in. I know it was awkward, but part of me was glad it was you." Her heart pounded, her breath catching. She wanted to tell him he was wrong to feel that way, that such thoughts couldn't exist between them. But when she looked into his eyes, what she saw wasn't shame, it was truth. And it pulled at something deep inside her. She placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "Ethan, we've been through a lot together. What matters is that we care about each other. Let's never lose that." It was a promise. A vow to protect the bond they had, no matter how complicated the path ahead might be. In the months that followed, Ethan left for college. But he called her often, sharing the small victories and struggles of his new life. Claire felt a pride she hadn't experienced in years, a sense of fulfillment she couldn't explain. What they shared was something no one else would ever truly understand, yet it had shaped them both permanently. The day he left for campus, he embraced her tightly and whispered against her ear, "Thank you for always being there. Even when you saw me at my lowest." Claire's eyes filled with tears as she smiled softly. "That's what family does," she replied. And she knew, as she watched him walk away, that their story was only just beginning.